Hey y'all, it's Nancy, the Handy Scandy here for Whimsy Stamps. Thanks for joining me today. I am going to be doing a little bit of masking today with the NoFuss Masking Sheets. I will be using the very fun Blimey Pirates, one of my favorite stamp sets, and I don't know that I've used it yet, so today was definitely the day, and that just makes my heart happy. So you can see I'm pulling out the stamps. On my Misty there, I have a sheet of the No Fuss masking paper. I have cut it down to 4¼ by 5½, and I'm getting ready to stamp these guys with my Memento ink. Now keep in mind, when you're stamping on masking paper, whether it's No Fuss or otherwise, you want to make sure that you are stamping on what will be the sticky side. So on this particular paper, it is the more textured matte side of the No Fuss paper. So that's what I was checking for. I was making sure that wherever I stamp is going to be the part that sticks to the paper. And keep in mind, again, that when you're stamping on the masking paper, you don't need the full image. Like when you're stamping here, I'm stamping out the images on little ATC cards, and I want to make sure that I have a very full, clean, crisp image. On the masking paper, you can see that they aren't stamped very well. They're spotty and choppy, and it doesn't matter because you really just need the gist of the image, if you will, just the basic outline so that you can do the fussy cutting. Also, in terms of the side of the paper that you use, if you're going to be using the No Fuss mask paper for die cutting, you want to be sure that you're using that more textured matte side of the paper as well for the die cutting. And that way you're making sure that you're die cutting on the sticky side. Now keep in mind that part of the magic of the No Fuss masking sheets is that most of them are specific to individual stamp sets, so you don't have to do all the fussy cutting or the die cutting, but they are specific to those stamp sets that you already own and already love, and Whimsy's bringing the No Fuss masking sheets to a lot of their newly released products as well. But in this case, since we're using the full sheets, fussy cutting is required, so I have a few tips for you. And the first one is that when you're doing your fussy cutting, use a sharp pair of pointy scissors, and you want to cut your image just inside the black stamped line. That way, when you go to do your ink blending or whatever it is you're doing around your stamped masked image, you're not going to get that halo. And we'll talk about that halo in a little bit. Another fussy cutting tip is that you don't have to worry about fussy cutting all those fussy bits like the mustache, or if you have an image that has wispy grasses or tiny branches or like snowman arms, cat whiskers, anything like that. Those really thin kind of wispy things like grasses, they're thin and they're solid stamped. You don't have to worry about fussy cutting those because they're already stamped down on your project, and you don't have to worry about your technique covering them up. Beyond that, use a sharp tool when you're lifting your stamped fussy cut image off of the release paper. It's going to help you. Also, hold on to that same sharp tool because you'll want to use it to lift your masking paper off of your project. Trust me, you will want to do that. Now, in the same way that you fussy cut just inside the black line, when you lay your masking paper down, you also want to lay it down just inside the black outline of your stamped image. And again, that's going to help reduce that halo effect. Now, even though I've been very careful to do my fussy cutting just inside that black line and to lay down my masks just inside that black line, I do still get a little bit of that halo effect with the ink blending, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get closer to the end, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, all of that is in preparation for the ink blending, and so in this case, I wanted to create a rainbow, and on the first one, I did red, orange, yellow, and then to unite the second card with the first one, I started with yellow, and I did yellow, green, teal. And then on the third one, I started with the teal that I ended with on the second card, and then I did teal, blue, purple. And now I am coming in with the treasure map stamp set, and I'm adding just some of those fun piratey elements, you know, those fun images that you might see on a pirate map or on a treasure map. So I'm just adding little stamped images all around each of them. And at this point, I'm not sure what direction I'm going in, but then I decide that I want to cut them out. So I'm auditioning my different frame dies to see which ones I want to use. Now, I had the antique ATC frames on the first two, but then I decided that I just wanted something a little more simple. So I pulled out my basic stitched oval dies, and that was perfect. And so I do want to say that excess that's being cut off, come back to my channel because those will be making another appearance over there, and you'll see what I did with those excess pieces. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that, but I'll link to my channel downstairs in the description box. So when I cut that excess off, I cut off some of those compass roses, and I really like that image, so I went back and added those. Now here, where I'm lifting my mask, I want to say, use that sharp tool to help you get it off, but also even before that, if you're going to run your project through a die cutting machine, you probably want to lift that masking paper first, because the pressure from the die cutting machine just forces that adhesive into your project and makes it stick. Even though it's removable, that adhesive, when it's forced down, it's going to stick. And I did have some of that, and you saw the evidence of that with me trying to lift them. But then we have that beautiful reveal. You see that white and black stamped image beneath or surrounded by all that beautiful coloring. It's so stark and it's so beautiful. It's such a fun reveal to do that. Lifting the masks is always such a fun element to this type of technique. So I went around each of them with my vintage photo as well as my black soot distress inks just to give that aged look. And then I decided I wanted to add a little bit of life to these dead skelly pirates. So I'm just coming in with some very, very simple alcohol ink coloring. These Nouveau markers are new to me, and I felt like those colors were perfect for old bones. So just went around simply adding some color to some of those details and some black around the eyes and some red around the eyes. Think Pirate Jack Sparrow, right? With the mascara around his eyes. Think that guy. So on this guy, I did not do the fussy cutting between his bandana and his skull, but I easily remedied that by finding alcohol ink markers that were of similar colors to my inked background. Very, very simple. And going back to that halo, I've mentioned that halo several times. And as I zoom in close to these as we come to the end of the video, you will see that there is a little bit of a halo on each one. On this guy, obviously there was that space in between the bandana and the skull, but you can also see to the left side of the bandana there was a little bit of that halo. Now, the guy with the hat, I think of him as the captain, and I made him a ginger. He has to be a ginger, but you'll notice that he doesn't have quite as much of a halo, except for maybe a hint around his beard. And the first guy with the mustache and the beard, if you look there at the top left, you can see his beard, and there's like a white halo also around his crossbones. And even though I was super careful, like I mentioned, there's still that little bit of halo, but it's easily remedied if you care to. On these, I didn't care to. I did the space on the yellow-green guy. I did that space between the bandana and the skull, but around those halo spots, I'm not worried about it. But just go back in with those alcohol ink markers or whatever medium you're coloring with and fill that space in if it bothers you. If it doesn't bother you, it's okay. See, his are a little more obvious, but again, it doesn't bother me. So, yeah, so there are my three Scully guys, my Blimey Pirates. They are rainbow ATCs. I had so much fun making these. And a little inside tip, Whimsy is collaborating with online card classes. Yeah, so that's a secret. But come back on Saturday because we will be having an IG hop using the NoFuss masks, and it is in collaboration with online card classes, y'all. So you want to make sure you come back. There will be prizes to be had. So come on back, see all the inspiration. Hop over to my channel because, like I said, I'll be showing you how I use the frames that I die cut out from around these guys. So thanks, guys, for spending some time with me. And until next time, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy for Whimsy Stamps. And as always, I invite you to use the links downstairs in the description box if you are interested in any of these products. You can hop on over to the Whimsy store and check them out over there. I invite you as well to join us on all of our social media platforms, on Facebook, Pinterest, especially Instagram, and especially on this Saturday, you want to make sure that you come back for that IG hop. And I encourage you to meet me downstairs in the comments as well. We'll have a conversation, and I'm out.